Yeah. All right. Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the February Google Developer Group meetup. And let's go ahead and get the usual stuff out of the way before we get going. If I can get focused to this thing. Oh, too far. All right. So first of all, GDG Gig City is an inclusive community where developers, designers, and entrepreneurs of all skills, genders, religions, backgrounds are welcome to learn, practice, and share Google technologies, services, and platforms. Our motto is be excellent to each other. If you see or experience anything different than that, please contact me so we can get that taken care of. And if you guys don't know by now, the CHADEV group, you can check out the website right now. The chatdevs.com just points to our subreddit, which is reddit.com/r/chadev or chadev.reddit.com. Also, feel free to join us on our chat room, the Chadev on Freenode, and check out our calendar of events for things going on around the awesome community here. We're still working out details for the Android study group. We'll need to figure out date and times for meetings and things like that, and still need to determine a final project to do for that. The Learn to Code / Teach Kids to Code, that's still pending as well. There's a lot of things we got to work out for that. And if you want to get involved in building our website, the source code for it is on GitHub, so feel free to fork it and work on anything that you want to help improve. And our next meetup is March 18th. And without further ado, we will get into this month's topic, which is Introduction to the Google Cast. So let's go ahead and close out this window. So, the introduction to Google Cast, and we'll be talking about the software development side of it a bit at a high level, and the different kind of things you can do with their developer kit. But first of all, I hope everyone's heard of Google Cast, or at least the Chromecast, and has an idea of what you can do with either one. So one thing about being a developer is that it takes a lot of time. You're always dealing with lots of different development issues. You have to choose where to spend, and choosing where to spend development time is important, especially if it's something where you're going to be making money off of for an app. And these days, app developers try all sorts of things to get users to spend money on things like in-app purchases, or just straight out buying their apps first place, or running ads in the app. It's also a well-known fact that people spend over 3 hours a day in front of a television. 3 hours is a huge part of anybody's daytime, and there's a real opportunity here to get your app kind of exposure to people. So imagine if you could take advantage of the time people spend in front of their TVs with the apps that you are developing or planning to develop in the future. Well, if that's the case, then you're in a good position, and you can make some money doing this, but that's what the Google Cast is for. So Google Cast is a way of taking your existing applications and connect them to the biggest, most beautiful screen in people's houses. So this is a technology that enables true multi-screen experiences for your users in shared areas like the living room. By integrating Google Cast into your application, or integrating Google Cast in your application is relatively simple. And in this talk, we're going to cover the SDK and resources available to make your application Cast enabled as easily as possible. So one of the best ways to think of Google Cast is that it's a connecting technology. It enables you to connect different devices together, and this is done via the Cast protocols. The SDK lets you integrate any Cast device on a local network to become part of your application's output area. In some ways, you can imagine this as connecting external monitor to your app, but wirelessly. The place you start is with an existing app, something that's already built and that you would want to extend. So if your application runs on a phone, then there's SDKs for iOS devices, and there's Android devices as well. But the Google Cast isn't limited to just phones. It can run on applications like, or on devices like tablets, and it can be even in a web application running on a computer as well. So let's take a quick tour through how the Cast technology stack works. When you integrate the Cast SDK into an application, it becomes what's known as the sender. The sender application sends or casts the content from themselves to a Cast device on the local network. When you send from your application, it needs to be received by something, and that's called the receiver. Receivers are small applications that run on receiving devices like the Chromecast, or a device running Android TV also acts as a Cast receiver. The Chromecast is a small USB powered dongle that plugs into the HDMI port on the back of the TV. And the important thing to note here is the Google Cast is the technology of the Chromecast is an example of a product that supports Cast. And as I said, Android TV and is another product from Google that supports this as well. So for you as a developer, it's transparent. So once you Cast enable your application, it'll connect to all devices that the Google Cast protocol. After a Cast-enabled sender application triggers the load of a receiver application onto the Cast device, They're ready to talk to each other in order so you can control the cast device from the sender application. A cast-enabled sender, like your application, needs to integrate to the cast SDK to enable discovery of existing cast devices on the local network. Once it finds a nearby device, a little icon becomes visible to users within the application. You can see that icon here on the top right corner of this application. Clicking on that icon connects the sender to the selected Chromecast device, which turns the sender into a remote control. You can see here that after selecting the cast icon, it shows it changes colors to show that it's connected. Okay. If you've seen cast-enabled apps already, you may have noticed the cast icon placement and the dialogues are all consistent. And that's due to Google producing suggested UI guidelines to ensure cast experience is familiar, simple, and powerful. So that same menu there you would see on a tablet, and it would appear just the same. So users, once familiar with it, will always know to look for that. The UX guidelines explains the user interface for selecting cast devices on local networks, how to play, pause, and even how the scrubbing controls should look, and provide an easy way to make sure the users can use your app easily through visual consistency for all cast-enabled apps. So once the sender app has triggered the receiver app to load on the cast device, like the Chromecast shown here, there's lots of options for how you can control the cast device. The cast device itself runs standalone, so you can tell it to load things like media streams from HTTP URL somewhere. And when you do that, the cast device pulls the content directly from the cloud, so the sender does no work except setting up the connection. And while the cast device is displaying a media stream, for example, you can send messages from the sender and from the receiver app to control things like play, pause, time scrubbing, and I guess you could be wondering what kind of codes you need to write for your receiver app. Well, receiver applications that run on cast devices is nothing but a simple web app. The cast device itself runs stripped-down version of Chrome that can run HTML5 applications to provide the cast device UI, and it makes use of the HTML5 video tag to do the on-screen area where the media will be displayed. And this just means that the receiver applications are written in HTML and CSS and JavaScript like any other web page. For developers that want to get started quickly, don't have to worry about writing a receiver application at all. Google provides a bunch of sample receiver applications that you can load on your cast device during development. you can find them at the URL on this slide. And the provided receiver apps start from really basic application that then an application that can be easily styled with CSS, and they also have full code for more complex app that covers the harder stuff like adaptive streaming and handling different formats and content protection. Since CAS devices just run web applications, you're not restricted to playing just videos. You can make big screen display for like photo galleries and things. Yeah. Or you can make a game that uses the CAS device to display a score. Or you can even run interactive games where the receiver app is a shared output, and then all the people playing the games can have their own individual screens. And Google has recently announced cast gaming, and it opens up another opportunity to use things like the accelerometer and touch capabilities of people's phones as the game controller that they already have. So now that you know how all it works from technology point of view, I'm sure you're all itching to integrate the CAS SDK into your apps. One thing that's really great is true cross-platform portability. So you can integrate CAS whenever you're on Android, iOS, or web development. And you can download the SDKs for each of these platforms by going to the link and following the documentation on the site. Another thing that's really useful is the Google development team has built a whole bunch of Cinder applications for all the supported platforms that you can find from this link. So you have full source code examples that you can build and run on your devices to see how the SDK hooks into applications and how to handle different CAS scenarios. And if you develop for Android, they can also be a great resource called the CAS Companion Library, which provides support for tons of disconnection, reconnections, and a bunch of other network things that could come up. And it's something essential for an Android app to save you development time to have that library for those kind of things. So as mentioned before, you can get access to hosted receiver apps that you can just load into the device without doing any receiver development work at all. And they load on the device and look something like this. Just very, very basic. Google provides an example of fully customizable receiver application that covers more complex aspects of media delivery to CAS devices as reference for more featured development applications. That's stuff like DRM, multiple video formats, and adaptive streaming. To publish a CAS-enabled application, you need to register as a CAS developer at that URL. So the best place to get started is either the Google developer site or by looking at the public GitHub repository.
There's a lot of this development going on right now.
Yeah, a lot of applications are actually implementing this from different platforms.
Yeah.
So a lot of Android apps have it. A good number of iOS devices have it, and there's even web applications that do it. So examples would be like Pandora or Netflix, things like that. You can be at your computer and decide you just want to send it to your television, and they use the Chromecast API for that. And VLC just announced that they'll be the first native application to make use of it. So VLC 3.0, you'll be able to cast any content you're playing on VLC to a Chromecast device.
Oh, okay. And
So
do you have a VLC thing that you get put on the TV through that system?
No, you won't even have to install anything on the Chromecast.
Right.
It's just you'll install VLC on your PC, and then it will know how to talk to it.
Oh, okay. So is there, what version is VLC up to now?
2 something.
So it'll.
It's their next major release.
Oh, okay, that's cool. Yeah.
It's in the works now. And okay. So the Google Cast is one of the best and maybe easiest ways to take advantage of the big screen in people's living rooms with your apps. For users, it's familiar, it's simple to use. For developers, it's a powerful way to take control of that big screen in the home. And we're all getting used to using more than one screen at a time in a living room. So I know personally, I'll have a movie or TV show on TV, but it'd still be on a laptop or on my tablet or whatever doing something else. And you can even give that kind of experience. So you can do second screen, and the Google Play Movies actually makes use of that. Okay. So if you are streaming a TV show or movie through Google Play Movies, the actual content will be on your TV, but the your device you're casting from will be second screening. So if it's it'll show you people who's talking in real time, so that you can get like that actor's name, see what other things they did, or if there's a song that's playing and you want to know what it is, and if a card will show up for that, and they'll be all on your phone, tablet, or your computer, while the movie or TV show is on television, not being overlaid with anything.
Oh, yeah, right.
So just think of all that TV viewing time that you could use better playing, that people could use better playing with your application, rather than just watching a movie or TV show or playing a video game. If you want to dig into cast development more, these are some essential links to explore. There's also a vibrant Google Plus community where there's lots of technical questions and discussions by people who've used this SDK in the past or are using it as well.
What is the G Plus Cast?
So G Plus is just an abbreviation for Google Plus.
Okay.
And within Google Plus, you have communities. So there's the Cast developer community, which is just where people go to talk about Cast development things.
Okay.
So that's this for that. So are there any questions?
Do you have any like Chromecast device or something you could display that here?
Yeah, the TV actually has a Cast device. Let me kill the live stream real quick.